what really makes me laugh is imagining like a Housewives opening sequence that is like absurd and strange and sort of like off. Like I like the idea of turning to camera and going like, has anyone seen my car keys? I don't know why, but it really makes me laugh.
So Liv, stoked to have you.
Thank you.
And like you're here in the wake of the latest season of Yellowjackets, and I'm curious for you, like, what is that like when the show starts hitting and you start, like, are you guys paying attention to the fan edits? Are you paying attention to the theories?
Yeah, I think everybody is to varying degrees. Like some of us are less plugged in and less aware, and then some of us are actively dropping like fan videos in the group text we're all in. It sort of runs the gamut. And also like we've grown with this show now over a number of years. So I think it's also gone through peaks and valleys. Like there have been times where like when season 1 was coming out, I was really interested in what everybody thought. And then when season 2 came out, I was like, I can just not worry about this for a second. And now I think it's sort of reached a healthy medium where I like seeing stuff and I'm so like grateful for the reception, but I'm less hung up on it than I maybe once was.
Is there a part of you that is like desperately wants to comment, whether like publicly or in like a burner account, and just be like, you're wrong?
No, I don't think so. But I do get like, I say this all the time, that I do get like a private kick out of reading somebody theorizing who's right. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever feel the need to cross over the wall, as it were.
Sure.
But I do get this kind of like tiny kick of like, that's nice. Like that's gonna be fun for you later.
Oh, I love that. Well, I also know that that you were a fan of some kind of fun genre shows. Mm-hmm. I heard you say on Collider Forces that you love Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, I do.
And that you want to be Lestat.
Well, I got to be careful saying stuff like that because I think people really like run away with it. Where I'm like, I'm not. It's just something I said. Like I love the show.
No, like I get it. Like the dream.
Yeah, exactly. And I am such like a lover of really strong ensemble casts and always have been, which is part of why I was so excited about Yellowjackets in the first place. And I think the ensemble cast of that show is like such a powerhouse. Everybody's so good. So there is an element of me like pressing my nose up against the glass, being like, hello, just if you guys need anything.
Sure.
Let me know.
Are you like a manifesting person, or was that just like I love the show and people can know about that?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say I am with any kind of like literal specificity, but I think there is real merit in vocalizing what you're interested in and saying out loud the things that you want, if only so that other people know what you're interested in and what you might want to do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that because it's like, personally, like as a film critic and things like that, if someone tells me like, oh, I really love the show, then I need somebody to write about that show. I'm like, oh, right. And it's like, they weren't necessarily pitching to me when we were talking, but it's also just good to know. Mm-hmm. It just made me think of ages ago, Baby Spice apparently, like, they met a millionaire and he was like, I own a private jet. And she was like, cool, can you fly me to meet my mom this weekend? And people were like, it did. And people were like, that's so crazy. And I was like, here's the thing. I feel like if you meet a millionaire, that's a fair question.
Yeah, I think so.
Why not?
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's like, I think people assume that there's like a secret correct way to go about pursuing the things you want or not, and I think a lot of people come at it from a place of like fear or waiting for permission or not being sure if they're allowed to ask for something or vocalize something they want. But then like Baby Spice asks to borrow the private jet and it works and everyone's like, that worked? And I think there's a degree to which people are like, that's not fair because if I knew it worked, I would have done it. And it's like, well, you just try.
Right, and I mean, I wonder how much of that is a fear of, I don't know, I feel like there's this attitude in the world, I think especially if you are remotely a public person, where you're supposed to act like you're too cool to yearn for something.
Right.
That's why I enjoyed watching your interview with Perry, because I was just like, yeah, who doesn't want to be Lestat? That's such a...
Well, literally, and I mean...
deeply relatable.
And it's kind of funny to me when like people who work in entertainment do put on like a sort of image of being like uninterested or cool or above it, because like I know very well that it is quite hard like to pursue this for a living and to do it for a living and to keep doing it for a living. So it's like to each their own, but I'm like, I know you care about this.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Like you have to work your ass off.
Yeah, I think that I can relate to that. And I was actually just talking with some other people who work in entertainment reporting last night, and we were talking about how some people in that field try to act like they're just so over it and they're just and I'm like, okay. And one of my colleagues said, I feel like if this didn't still excite me, I wouldn't still be doing it.
No, totally. Yeah.
And it's like, I know that there are some days that are super glamorous, but there are some days where you are, you know, in a makeup chair having dirt applied to you for hours on end.
A few times, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, at that point, it's like, I mean, I feel like you have to love it or else.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's very easy to not do this for a living, you know? Like it's hard to do it, if only because like the industry is so complicated. And I mean, like, as somebody who had to like move halfway across the world to like be in the position that I'm in now, it's like a lot of things have to happen, so of course I care about it, or like of course it matters to me.
Sure. And as far as things that like you enjoy watching, whether in a kind of like, oh, I'd like to be a part of that, or just as a like comfort watch, what is it that you're watching?
Oh, I really remember having that feeling about Everything Everywhere All at Once when it came out. I took myself to see it, I think like opening weekend, and I had a foot injury, so I was like with a cane and by myself, and I was just like miserable. And then this movie blew my head off, and a few things in my life have really vividly given me that feeling of like, I would give anything to be a part of something like this. And it's always like projects where I can tell that everybody involved has everything they need to make it, cares about making it, and is thrilled to be working on it. And that's the energy that I really try to bring to stuff I'm a part of. And it's just like the environment I'm desperate to like create, participate in, and I'm a sucker for practical effects.
Yeah, watching that movie, I was blown away because one, I was just like, they made this movie. And like, I had seen Swiss Army Man, but I was like, wow, no, you guys really went there.
Yeah.
And then also just because there were parts of it where I was like, how did they know what it's like inside my brain?
Right, yeah.
And it was so funny to see so many people say they felt that way when we all regard the movie as deeply strange. And yet we're all going, no, but I get it.
Well, this is the thing, is like people sometimes ask me to like describe the kind of thing I would be interested in being a part of in terms of like genre or tone, and I find that difficult, but
Sure.
I think the easiest way for me to describe the things that I like and that I'm interested in making are just things that have a specific tonal voice and a specific like tonal point of view and a perspective. Like, it doesn't have to be like a comedy or a drama. Like, I find those terms sort of quite restrictive in terms of describing the things that I like. But when something really clearly has a tonal universe that it's building, and like a tone to communicate to an audience, then that really speaks to me. Sure. So that's partly why Yellowjackets really spoke to me, and that's why films like that really speak to me too.
Sure. Is there something that you like? I have a hard time with this question personally because I don't know if I believe in guilty pleasures because I just like what I like.
Right.
But do you have something you would consider a guilty pleasure that is something that you like watching but you maybe don't talk to people about?
Well, I think something that doesn't come up very often, but that is like a part of my kind of like media landscape is that like especially when I'm working, when I'm in the middle of working, I do like go through periods of mainlining reality television. But it's not a consistent part of my media diet, and like when it's on, it's really on, and it's usually because my brain is so occupied with something else. But like when we were filming the first season of Yellowjackets, I watched like 16 years worth of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like over the course of that 6 months. Because I just needed to.
Sure.
You know? Like I had to do it.
No, I get that. I think because so much of my world is processing media for a living, when I just need to relax, I watch something no one's talking about.
Yeah, and I love too, actually, arriving to something late. And to the point where sometimes if I know I'm gonna like something, I will wait to watch it, sometimes for a number of years. Because I don't know, maybe there's like a certain thrill I get out of like in the mid-2020s being like, did you guys know The Americans is really good? And it's like, yes.
No, because then it gets to be yours. You know what I mean? You're not following a trend. You get to like have the space to. A friend of mine texted me the other day and he's like, I know. I finally listened to Chapel Rowan.
Oh yeah, great.
He was like, because I have been being like, oh my God, how are you not? But I like that, like, he was like, I don't know, I don't have the headspace for it. And now that's a thing for him.
Totally.
So I'm very receptive to like, give yourself the space to be able to like a thing on your own terms.
Yeah, and like having something, well, first of all, it's like nothing's going anywhere, right? I mean, aside from the possibility of it being like digitally shelved for some reason, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
So, you know, as long as there's access to it, I think there's also quite a lot of beauty in like arriving to something outside of its release time that then makes it significant for you. Like, I mean, using The Americans as an example, like I watched all of The Americans when I was laid up recovering from top surgery, and like now that's my kind of attachment to and relationship to that show is like, this show is incredible. Well, I'm like lying down on painkillers, you know, but it's like a part of my life in this specific way now.
No, I love that. I've talked about, because it was funny, Mark and I were just talking about blind spots where like not everybody has seen everything. Actually, no one's seen everything.
No,
so like everyone needs
crazy.
to calm down. But we were talking about this, and my thing is that I don't feel like people should be ashamed of their blind spots because like one, like, you know, I think sometimes we find things when we need them.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you had an experience like that?
I feel like that's constantly happening all the time. And I think like it's very healthy and enriching actually to cultivate a curiosity in films and books and like TV shows and music that have been out for a while and are like in the culture and in the landscape and just like literally waiting for you to discover them. It's like, well, the whole world can be a library if you want.
Yeah.
And it's to everybody's detriment actually if you feel that the only time to get on board with something is as it's airing and then it vanishes. Like, well, the whole point of recorded visual media is that it doesn't vanish, you know, is that it's not theater. Like, you can a few years later revisit it or find it for the first time. That's part of the appeal.
Right.
Know?
I also just like how we discover things shapes how we view the world, and I like that it gets to be individual for people.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see Citizen Kane until after I had seen Velvet Goldmine.
Right.
And so in my mind, Velvet Goldmine was this like really, I knew it was like loosely based on like Lou Reed and Bowie, but I didn't know that it was following the structure of a movie that had already existed.
I love that.
Right. Because I was just a baby by being like, what is this? And like sneaking it in, you know, the basement of my parents' house.
Yeah.
And then when I watched Citizen Kane, it was like blew my mind that someone had taken their love of queer culture and glam rock and put it through this like very institutional funnel of Citizen Kane. But it was like, but it was like, I got to experience that kind of backwards. And that for me was kind of beautiful, but it's like, you know, deeply backwards or
I love that actually. And I think there's real merit to that. And I mean, like I'm a mid-90s baby. So I grew up watching a lot of The Simpsons, as I think like a lot of people my age did, like particularly in Australia, The Simpsons was massive. And what I found as I got older and started like seeking out media on my own is that like I wasn't catching half of like the specific references that The Simpsons was making. And similarly, like when I saw Moulin Rouge as a kid, I knew that some of the songs were real songs outside of the film, but I didn't know that they all were, you know? And so like you get to discover these things retroactively. But that's not bad, and you don't lose anything. I mean, I'm a circular narrative fan, right? So like coming back around to an understanding of something I think is also quite beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. Is there, speaking of kind of the 90s, like we grew up with kind of similar technologies, is there a piece of tech that you like look back on nostalgically?
Yeah, I think it's more atmospheric, I suppose. I do like miss things being more modular and like more repairable. And contained, like I miss the way things sounded. Like I was thinking the other day about like what I feel got kind of lost with the ubiquitousness of touchscreens is there's like a sort of tactile element that I really miss about like keyboards and like even like the wheel that used to be on iPods or just like the notion of you plug something into something and then it works and you touch it and that's like, I don't know, I miss that. And I think physical media is probably going to start coming back in a pretty big way, just as people start to grapple with the notion that like something can disappear in a subscription model pretty easily. Yeah. And I also miss the ease of access to things like special features or like behind the scenes featurettes or like commentary tracks. Those things are still being made, but they tend to only be made for physical releases because that was part of the selling point of trying to talk people into buying a physical release. Speaking for myself, and I know for a few people in my life, like that is where our discovery of the industry was made. It's like, okay, I love films, but you fall in love with how people make the films by learning how that happens. So on a technological level, I think physical releases are important and worth protecting, and also there's a lot to discover about how things are made there.
I love that. Is there a particular, like, do you have a commentary track that like stands out to you as one that was really impactful for you?
Well, it's the absolute plethora of behind the scenes information that was made available about Lord of the Rings was huge, actually. The extended DVD releases of the Lord of the Rings that had all of the, it's like longer than the films.
Yeah.
The amount of behind the scenes stuff available, and me and my brothers and my dad would watch those. And I still, those films are really formative, and the knowledge of how they were made became really formative.
Yeah, it's funny because my nieces, they're obviously growing up in an age of streaming, but my mom still has DVDs, so they're very used to special features, and I was very proud. We watched Little Shop of Horrors together, which is one of my DVDs.
Yeah.
And immediately they were like, what are the special features?
Well, yeah.
And I was like, I just thought, well, you're cooler than the other kids immediately. But yeah, we watched the alternate ending, and they got to have all these conversations about how do they build the puppet, and we were watching that stuff, and yeah, it's that stuff totally exists online. You can look that stuff up, but it feels I think you're right. I think the tangibility of finding, and remember you used to have to find special features. You have to find the cheat codes.
Yeah, and moving the cursor around on the DVD menu and hitting a corner that you didn't realize was there, and then there's bloopers hidden behind it. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was a whole. It was a real interaction that we're kind of, I think, losing in the accessibility and the demand of just click
It's
the
just
thing.
ease of availability. I know physical releases are still made of newer pieces of media, but it's not as ubiquitous, not as common, not as easy to find, not as affordable necessarily. So
Sure.
I think something it out is important. And that's something that I want to do more of going forward as well.
Yeah. I'll say another thing was really for me, I think I've credited often, the thing that kind of really got me into movies was the fact that Jim Henson used to do these behind the scene things where he would show see, that was a cut, and how we, and that blew my mind to just have a grown up breaking down the kind of magic trick of it all.
Have you seen the video of them showing how they position the eyes on the puppet?
I don't know if I have.
I don't remember in what context that demonstration was made, but it's Jim Henson or one of his colleagues doing it. They're holding one of the puppet models that doesn't have any facial features yet, and then they start putting the facial features on the puppet, sort of demonstrating how the puppet's given personality not just by movement but by how they design it, and the placement of the eyes was such a big part of that. So it was fun watching somebody literally do it and feel yourself respond to it in real
While
time.
you're in New York, the Museum of Moving Image has an exhibit where you can do that.
Right. Okay, great.
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty great. Little plug for Momi. But yeah, that's amazing. Do you have a Muppet thing, or do you identify with a particular Muppet?
Yeah, I love the Muppets, and I miss them a lot, actually. And speaking of sort of reference and parody, the Muppet films that were riffs on other stories were a big part of my kind of media landscape growing up. The Muppet Christmas Carol was huge
100%.
in my house and still is. And talking about behind the scenes content and cut media, there's the song they took out of it and then put back in, and that was a big
I watch it every time because it makes me so upset.
Yeah, exactly. I could talk about that for a long time. So Kermit was huge for me, actually, and still is in a massive way. I'm very sentimentally attached to Kermit.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, especially people who go into creative fields, have a connection to Kermit because he has to manage all these people who are so creative but are also a lot.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. And he's so sensitive.
Yeah. My sister-in-law asked that question at a family dinner, and I said that I was gonzo, and I heard rumblings.
What were the rumblings?
And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And they were like, that's just, she goes, it's just not how I see you. And then I got immediately nervous because I was like, I respect her opinion a lot. And I thought, I don't know what word could come out of your mouth now that will shatter me, but it feels possible.
What was it?
She said Miss Piggy, and I was like, I'll take that.
I mean, that's pretty fabulous.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's fine. I'll take that. I idolized her very much growing up.
It's a winning proposition.
Yeah, I was like, 100% I'll take that. She's a boss bitch. I have no complaints there.
Yeah, there's really nobody like her. And there should be. There should be. She's incredible.
She's amazing. Well, I know you have some exciting things coming up, but I'd like to talk about the Lesbian Bar Project.
Sure, yeah. The Lesbian Bar Project had me come on board to design a shirt for them, which we're selling for the next month, and using the proceeds to raise some money for participating lesbian bars in the US and in Australia, which is cool.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it stretched that far. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I asked when I came on board, I was like, do you think we could reach out to some Australian bars? And I was so stoked to be involved, and I'm really proud of it. And it was a fun exercise for me because I've never really done something like that. So the shirt says, ask me about my local lesbian bar in my handwriting on the front, and then I've signed it on the back. And And I hope that it's like a cool invitation for people to start chatting about lesbian bars that they love out in public. Because lesbian bars are really important to me, and I was thrilled to be able to work on something with the Lesbian Bar Project to like celebrate spaces like that and also help support them.
Yeah. So what do the funds go toward?
They go towards these bars. So there's like a list of bars that have participated in the project with us, and then 20% of the money we raise will be distributed to those spaces. Lesbian bars like in the US are growing increasingly scarce, and like in Australia even more so. They close at a rate that's higher than other businesses, and it's like harder to start them than other businesses, and they're just like really worth protecting, I think, and worth celebrating while they're around. So if we're able to like lend some infrastructural support, I'm really proud to do something like that, and I hope it's helpful, and I hope that it gets people like talking and going and celebrating spaces like that in their area.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's so great how like you've been like, you know, bringing queer and LGBTQ representation both like to the screen and like behind the scenes in these kind of projects.
Thanks.
Is that for you just like, well, obviously I'm doing that, or is that something that you're putting out to your people of like, this is what's important to me, this is what I want to make a big focus in my career?
I mean, I feel it is important to me. It is like centrally important to me, and I think it's sort of self-evident, like in the way that I live my like very gay life, first of all, and then in the work that I do, I'm thinking about it all the time, and I know the people who work with me are, because I know they know how much it matters to me and how big a piece of like my professional focus that is.
Sure.
So yeah, it's totally at the forefront. But in terms of like my team and the people who work with me, I don't ever really have to sit anybody down and be like, this matters. They're like, no, yeah, we know. Like,
We've
sure.
met you.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Like, it's come up, which is really great. And it's something that I feel really energized by and really grateful for the opportunity to do. So I hope to bring that forward with me.
Sure. Well, so what do you have coming up? I've looked up a couple of things, but what can you tell us about?
Well, I just did, there's this fabulous new show on Reverie called King of Drag, which is the first ever reality competition show about drag kings. And they asked me to come and be a guest judge for episode 3, which came out really recently. And I was so stoked to be able to do that because I'm a massive drag king fan and have been for a really, really, really long time. So that was cool, and that's out. And it would be great if people could go and watch it. And then Yellowjackets has been renewed. We're waiting to hear when we go back and do more of it. And then I was in an independent film called For Worse, which went to festivals earlier this year that I'm really proud of, if people want to go and ferret around and find that. And then I think that's pretty much it at the moment.
Do you have Among Us coming up?
I don't know what the release plan is with Among Us.
Interesting.
I loved doing it, and I think that show is brilliant. I mean, I got to see some of it when we recorded it, and it's really funny, but I am not sure what the plan is with Among Us.
Had you played the game before?
No, I hadn't, but when they cast me, I sort of like went and played some. And I had never played personally, but I have a couple of like beautiful Gen Z people in my life who played it a lot and were pretty excited to hear that I was going to do it. So that was really nice.
I will say I'm terrible at those kind of games. I play them with my nieces and lose frequently. It doesn't matter if I'm the saboteur or not. They vote me out constantly.
Yeah, I know. In situations like that, I find I'm like not a very good liar, maybe counterintuitively, given what I do for work. But it's just not a scenario in which I'm great at lying, because I'm just like, what if we just all hang out, you know? But that's not.
I was like, I swear to God, I'm not the one you're looking for, and they're like,
Nice
that's very
try.
suspicious. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you watch like Traitors and things like that?
No, I haven't seen the Traitors, but friends of mine tell me it's really good. I don't know that I spend a lot of time in like subterfuge.
Sure.
Reality spaces, but I like fictional shows about lying. Those are great. Very pro lying, you know, in an entertainment setting.
Sure, I get that. The reality shows where people are lying to each other stress me out.
Yeah, me too.
But to the Housewives, because you're a Housewives fan, have you thought about like what would your Housewives catchphrase be? Like, because I know that's a big thing fans get like into.
I don't have an earnest answer to that question because what really makes me laugh is imagining like a Housewives opening sequence that is like absurd and strange and sort of like off. Like I like the idea of turning to camera and going like, has anyone seen my car keys? I don't know why it really makes me laugh.
I feel like that one I would watch. Reality shows I'm not big on, and I think it's just that they stress me out, which like ironically I will watch horror all day, but I feel like it's like that's a place where my anxieties make sense.
Yeah, and I mean there's like a psychological thing too about horror as a genre, that horror is a safe environment to experience like fear and panic and terror because nothing's happening to you, so it gives your brain an opportunity to process those feelings.
That might be it, because then reality TV like bleeds into like the internet and stuff, and you can't escape it, and then I feel like it becomes...
Well, when I watched 16 years worth of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, anthropologically what I found fascinating
when you got your master's in Housewives.
When I got my PhD, my PHR, my PHH, my Housewives doctorate, it was really fascinating to watch phones arrive, because like those shows were made like before the ubiquity of things like Instagram or even the proliferation of smartphones, which now is like such a central part of how participants in those shows like conduct themselves or live their lives. It's part of the marketing. It's like part of how the show is happening. So it was really interesting to watch that shift happen. And I'm sure someone's written an interesting think piece about it that I'd love to read if anyone knows of one.
And if not, I'm commissioning one. Holler. No, that's a very good point. It's interesting because like watching, especially now, there's so many times where they're like, this movie is set, and it's like everybody wants to set it before cell phones because it is just such a game changer in the way people communicate.
I know, yeah.
Do you have a go-to emoji?
Do I? Oh, the one with the sunglasses I use a lot. Yeah, face with the sunglasses, and then the saluting one I use a lot.
That's good.
That has a lot of uses, I think.
I go with the flustered one. It works a lot.
Yeah, cool.
Or the upside down smile, which is so effective for so many things.
The melting one is great.
The melting one is also, it's this 2025 is very much a melting emoji year.
I would say so, yeah.
Is there anything like coming out this summer that you're excited about, whether it's TV or movies? Like just as a fan or as like a supporter of some of your colleagues?
Yeah, totally. It's out now. I haven't seen it yet. I'm really stoked to see Sorry Baby. I'm really looking forward to that. Some things that I saw recently that I liked. I really liked Friendship a lot. And then there's a film called Sister Midnight that I saw recently that I really enjoyed. That was great.
Yeah, that's on digital now. And then Skylar's in Superman. Have you gotten to see Superman yet?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I'm stoked to see it.
Yeah, it's funny. I loved Santa Clarita Diet, so like it was funny to see him playing a very different role.
Oh, amazing! Cool.
But was it? I mean, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, but like moving from like Santa Clarita, I know it wasn't a direct conduit, but like you've done a lot of cannibalism shows.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I do joke about that now. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it unless people get eaten. That's my thing.
This is what I care about. We don't talk enough about cannibalism.
It's a fun niche. I'll take it. I loved working on that show. That show brought me over to the States. It's what I came over to do when I was 20. And it's an experience I count myself really lucky to have had, because it was so fun. And that team of people is so lovely.
I was so bummed when that was canceled. One, because it's such a fun show, because it was like, where are we gonna go now? Like this is, like, did you guys have a concept of where it might go next? Was that like a conversation that was being had?
No, not that I know of, not with me. But Victor Fresco, the creator of that show, was just like always full of brilliant twists and turns, and the writers of that show were so clever. So I mean, particularly where it ended, like the cliffhanger that it ended on, I'm like, I do not know what was going to happen after that. But, you know, people can imagine.
Lestat. I mean, and it's a crazy thing with the streaming, because it's like, you know, sometimes shows are gone for years and then they do come back. So who's to say?
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, we'd probably have to, if we were ever going to do more of that, we'd need to build a time skip in there, probably.
Yeah. We just cut 2 years later and there's probably a lot more zombies around.
God.
It's The Last of Us, but it's a comedy.
I mean, right? That sounds kind of fun.
I would watch it. The amount of times I bring up cannibalism in morning editors calls, and you know, everyone else just has to act like it's super normal.
Brilliant.
We did ask an actual chef if the way Jackie got cooked would work.
What did they say?
He said the inside would not be cooked. He would not recommend.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Why would you recommend it?
Yeah, he's like, I will answer your questions. Please don't say my name. We're like, that's fair.
Right. Wow. Oh, I really get a kick out of that. That's fun.
Like, I love the expert advice we get.
Yeah, no snow crust. Copy. Got it.
Yeah, he was like, no, that's not how meat cooks. Okay.
Writing that down. Thank you.
Note to self.
Gotcha.
Keep that in mind.
Not a safe temperature for human body. Okay. Excellent.
When you're reading those scripts, is there like are you a reactive person as you're reading stuff, or is it all just kind of very like stoic, and then like later you kind of get to dwell on being excited about it? Or are you reading it and being like, oh no?
It's probably somewhere in the middle, I think. Like I do react to stuff, and there have been times where I've been like, okay, I'm just gonna, all right, and then what happens, you know? And I think like with each other, we're quite reactive. Like anytime a script goes out, we'll all be like,
you're like on a text chain.
Yes, and then like some of us are like, I'm not up to that. Listen, wait until I'm finished. And people are like, okay, text me when you're finished. Like it's very sweet.
I love that you make it sound like a book club.
It is a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah. That's like the window of time in which we also get to be an audience for the show, which is fun.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Do you have a name for your group chat?
What is it now? It's been different every season. I think for this most recent one, it was just S390s, which is like sort of sleek and functional.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell your audience before we head out?
I feel like we've sort of talked a bit about like going back and discovering stuff that you maybe like haven't seen that is out, or like releases that are maybe not from the country that you grew up in. You know, if anything, I want to really encourage people to like go ferreting around for stuff that they like that might not naturally come across their desk. Because I think right now we're living in a window of time where things do get served up to you a lot, and you know, that's all well and good, but you're not going to find everything you like that way, and you might not even find the things that you like the most that way. So go scrounge and get curious.
I love that. Is there anything you want to throw out people should check out?
Sister Midnight's a good one. That's like a fun recent release. And The Americans.
Also, I hear this Housewives show is amazing.
It's pretty fun, and there's a lot of it.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.